Hello and welcome to the daily newscast within the United Countries special by 1st Ukraine. You can find us at the frequencies available at our website, firstday.com. Taras Chechko is working for you in the studio. Thank you for joining us. With a view to stopping the assault of Donetsk airport, the representatives of the Joint Center of Ukrainian and Russian sites left for the site. This is reported by the ATO Press Center in its Facebook page. Ukraine is represented by Lieutenant General Volodymyr Askarov and Russia by Lieutenant General Alexander Lentsov. According to the Joint Center, as of 1 p.m., 11 cases of fire in Donetsk airport were recorded. In general, for the last day, terrorists shelled the Ukrainian military positions more than 40 times. As a result of attacks, 3 Ukrainian soldiers died, 14 were injured. On the latest news from the ATO zone, our correspondent will report.
Donetsk airport is the very hard point of the ATO zone. It is said in National Security and Defense Council. Ukrainian soldiers were fired near 11 times. At the headquarters of ATO said airfield attacked by professionals. Bandits continue to attack the airport in Donetsk. For the assault involved Russian fighters of special purpose. Our guys again recaptured the attack of the enemy. Attack stepped back carrying heavy losses. The city was bombed from Grad. Terrorists hit the shops and cars of citizens. Also here destroyed part of the rice building. Some apartments were completely burned. It happened at 12 o'clock at night. The projectile flew. Here you can see the apartment. There was a man. He was wounded. To Donetsk, new humanitarian convoy arrives from Russia. It is AIDS. Like previous, this is not looked after the border. According to Russia, there are building materials and food. And the National Security and Defense Council said there is a tendency after delivery of such assistance. Once again recorded a tendency to activation of hostilities of arrival as a humanitarian convoy of Russia. This is most noticeable of the fact that use of heavy artillery. Also, on the last day of militants fired mortars and artillery positions of ATO near the settlements Opytne, Piski, Georgievka, Maximilianivka, Avdiivka. Also near Luhansk station, Makarovo, Hiivki, Счастье, Nikishine, Maloorlivka, Donetske, Krimske, Tryokhizbenka, Debaltseve. This video from Makivka, this is what remains from the minibus terrorists. One of the militants by himself blew up the car. This video filmed immediately after the explosion. Fighter is armed and drunk. Why is he drunk and with weapons? Disarm him. Check how many bullets near. Not enough. So he fired and he threw a grenade. Volodymyr Karaban, Victoria Zabian, 1st Ukraine.
Frozen 220 million hryvnias of Serhiy Arbuzov have not been affected. The former head of the National Bank of Ukraine has not taken any sum from his account. This was informed by First Deputy Chief of Investigation Department of the General Prosecutor's Office of Ukraine, Sviatoslav Laganyak. On the 21st of November, the judge of Pechersk District Court of Kiev withdrew the arrest of personal accounts of Serhiy Arbuzov at the request of his lawyer. Money was blocked in May 2014 due to the criminal proceedings against the former official. On the 24th of November, his accounts were arrested again through the appeal of the General Prosecutor's Office of Ukraine.
For the period from Friday till the Monday, from 21st to 24th of November, non-assent from all assets under this train was debited from the account. I mean, all money which were arrested till the 21st of November for today stay on account. They are blocked and they are under the arrest.
People prayed for the future of Ukraine in Kiev in the afternoon as well. At 2 neighboring squares, St. Michael and St. Sophia, the representatives of various Christian denominations took part in church service. The great prayer for Ukraine was led by Patriarch Filaret.
We need peace, but this peace should be fair. We want the war to be stopped in Donbass and people to live peacefully. Since that, from that day, a year ago, all our temples, our monasteries have become such shelters. The underground hospitals where the church, like a mother, healed, saved, warmed her children.
A year has passed since those events. Why aren't those guilty of dispersal of Maidan punished? And who is really to blame? At what stage is the investigation process? And does the Maidan disperse have Russian trace? Our correspondent tried to find answers to these questions and met with the investigator of the General Prosecutor's Office of Ukraine.
In general, for now, there are probably 500 tomes, maybe more. These are tomes of cases of crimes against Maidan. Dispersal or beating of protesters on the 30th of November is the separate episode. People who were involved are being accused in the obstruction of demonstrations. Proofs that were gathered allow us to report about the suspicion to the former President of Ukraine, Yanukovych, National Security and Defense Council Secretary Kliyev, former head of the government administration Popov, heads of the police of Kiev, Koyark, and his deputy Fedchuk, head of administration of public safety Marinenko, and also the commander of the regiment of special assignment Berkut Kosyuk. Investigator says, among all people mentioned above, only Popov and Marinenko are being interrogated. All the others are wanted. Till this time, I do not understand many things that happened. Alexander Popov recalls that day Kliyev asked workers to be ready for setting the Christmas tree at night. It was the second Kliev's call, and he said that Sivkovich sets the time when the operation of construction's delivery can be conducted. Approximately at 4:30 a.m., Sivkovich told me that everybody were leaving and that it was the time to accomplish that delivery without a conflict. Things that were going at the Maidan, says Popov, he and Sivkovich saw at the monitor that was in the room of the head of police. When everything that happened there already happened, I went to my administration with my soul at ease because these things weren't shown on the monitor. Volodymyr Sivkovich, this is mentioned by Popov, was the deputy of the Secretary of Security and Defense Council. His advocate refuses to comment the case and says that Sivkovich won't speak himself. Former member of the Party of Regions Chernobyl said that he knew Sivkovich very well. Sivkovich was Putin's commander when he was working at the Secret Service. That's the person that played main part in these events. To convey the order from Yanukovych that existed apparently, but to convey it properly. Many experts were talking about this. Sivkovich was among suspects, but in January court closed the case against him. Till this judgment isn't cancelled, I mean made by the court, we can't move on. But these courts are still in process. This is the lawyer Stanislav Bartrin. He is gathering evidences of Maidan victims. Lyovichkin at that time was the head of president's administration, so you can't assume that he didn't know about the dispersal of Maidan. Unfortunately, I didn't know where these decisions were made. I didn't agree to that, that's why I resigned. That's the question to the General Prosecutor's Office. Why isn't this person being under any criminal proceedings in Ukraine? This person is being checked on the possibility of being involved in a crime. But as I understand, during these years, no grounds were found. Yes, for now there is no data that will allow us to inform the suspicion to him. Among the alleged beating, there is no Berkut servicemen, although they are present at photos and videos on that morning. According to investigators, there were 390 people involved in violent dispersal. Violence at the first rows was applied by 30 of them. The question is to identify these 30. On the bad quality tape, nor victims nor Berkut worker, even that who didn't apply violence, nobody who has been questioned, and we asked everybody, nobody gives an evidence that he saw violence applied. In Ukrainian legislation, there is a term of investigation of the crime. After the suspicion has been declared to specific people, investigators have a year. Here at the General Prosecutor's Office, investigations of fugitives are paused till they are found. What about Popov and Marinenko? Investigation lasts for 10 months already. In 2 months, investigators are obliged to give the case to the court. Irina Romalivska, Andrei Mashlakivsky, Mykola Chebotarev, 1st Ukraine.
The Pope calls for peace in Ukraine. Just as the first Patriarch Bartholomew of Constantinople, Francis believes all parties must resolve the conflict and conduct a dialogue based on international law. High servants of Orthodox and Catholic churches published a joint declaration on this issue. It called for a dialogue to put an end to the conflict in Ukraine. The Pope has been on an official visit to Turkey since Friday. There is enough money for the war, but not for the medical sphere, and stop selling health. With these slogans, Moscow doctors held a sanctioned protest against medical sector reform. The rally was organized in the north of the capital, near the Olympic Stadium. They organized an improvised funeral of medicine with special braids and a symbolic coffin. Several thousand people participated in the campaign. The opposition political forces joined medical workers. They demanded not only to abolish the reform, but also to dismiss the draft law authors. The changes, which the Moscow authorities are planning to implement, provide that 28 medical institutions will be closed and 7,000 workers will be dismissed. The same changes are in other Russian cities. 150 million euros for a partial reconstruction of the pipeline Urengoy-Pomary-Uzhhorod be lent to Ukraine by the European Investment Bank. Russian gas goes to Europe through this pipeline. The financial agreement was signed by Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk and President of the bank, Werner Hoyer. According to the Prime Minister, 2 compressor stations will be renewed, and the pipeline, 120 kilometers long, will be completely replaced. This is the 10th part of the Ukrainian gas pipeline that is in the territory of Ukraine. The gas pipeline will be restored within 4 years. Ukraine plans to loan the other $202,000 million from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development.
The project is economically grounded. The project has 3 goals. First, to reduce gas consumption of technology on 20%, increasing of energy efficiency and safety of Ukrainian gas transport system of Ukraine. And third is ecology, reducing of emissions. Ukraine again calls all of our American and Russian partners to invest in Ukrainian gas transport system,
which is focused on upgrading gas infrastructure along a crucial energy corridor. The pipeline is of strategic importance for gas supply both to the EU and to Ukraine.
11 hours of memories and prayers from the very evening and until the morning service at St. Michael Cathedral. There was a night of memory. They commemorated those who had fallen victims of the first attack of special police forces 1 year ago at the Still of Independence that is in the center of Kiev. Berkut special police forces attacked peaceful protesters, mostly students. Having escaped, the youth found shelter at St. Michael Cathedral. Our correspondent will tell you about the events of the today's night.
The question exclamation which was shot on a mobile by someone among the participants of the event which took place on the Maidan at night from 28 to 29 November still cannot find an answer. In the prosecutor's office says, in that time around the Maidan were 1,500 of security forces. Near the Independence Monument, unarmed students and activists. A year later, at Night of Memory, at the same place again gathered a crowd. Today I couldn't go through. I stand like this, remember. I was there and I heard. It was disgusting, unacceptable. It was obscurely. From where? How? I fainted, and when I woke up, I had my head bandaged and I saw the terrible pictures, the river of blood. As then people are warming up near the barrels of fire, recall last year events, the singer Ruslana Ležičko said, "The Night of Memory, it is also an act of support for soldiers in the East." I thought that the morning will be not only of the solidarity to students of Euromaidan, but also for the solidarity of true resistance of our guys in the East. It needs to think that they have a strong spirit. They do not always have the appropriate equipment, but they stand and defend. Due to their heroism, we can gather a crowd today on our Maidan. At dawn, everybody goes to St. Michael's Cathedral. Its walls a year ago defended that people beat it by Berkut. A year ago, the monks opened the gate and led to enter beaten and frightened people. The bells hit the alarm. That day's morning, people who were on Maidan were met by bells. Nobody thought in that time if he takes risk or not. We saw people who needed care and protection, especially medical care and hygiene. That's why we opened the door for them and fulfilled our Christian duty. What the God has commanded to us, that we were doing. During the prayer, a large national flag in the temple was launched. Together with the believers on the prayer also participated the President of Ukraine with his wife. Petro Poroshenko said that these events remained forever in his heart. Olga Skodnikova, Eugene Sverstyuk, 1st Ukraine.
Snow battle in the city center. Near Motherland Monument, activists gathered hundreds of young people to play together with snowballs. In such a way, the event organizers promote healthy lifestyle. More details from the snow battle in the following story.
This is the territory of Great Patriotic War Museum. Here exactly the third year at a time the Great Snow Battle happens. All these people are absolutely strange to each other. They have assembled to play snowballs. At the moment they gather in child's play at once, line fight. The main idea of the action, organizers say, to tear you off yours from computers and TV sets and also to imitate childhood. Child's play, which is loved by all children, basically all, even adults, want to play snowballs sometime, all together. There are pupils, students, children, passers-by among participants of the game. 11 years old, Mikhailo gives a master class of snowball making. More snow. And just to press it by hands. Don't twist it. And then it will be strong and will not break up with one hit. It will be good. 16 years old, Anastasia had 2 toys in snow. She is not afraid to catch a disease. Then we will go home, hot tea, warm shower. So if I catch disease, it will be cough maximum. But that's worth an effort. Mark also is not afraid to catch disease. He came here in shorts and t-shirt. Do you always wear like this? Yes. Sometimes I go to school like this. Don't you ill? No. How have you got here? As usual. Is your home far away from here? Yes. Irina Vinogradova, Yaroslav Tikhomir, Victoria Zabiyan, 1st Ukraine.
It was the United Country newscast by 1st Ukraine. You can find more details at our website, first2.com. Taras Shechko was working for you in the studio. We wish you only good news. Take care and goodbye.